Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you another video. All right, so got a nice little win yesterday. The Lakers did against the Atlanta Hawks at home. Did everything we wanted to see our team do. Bron came out heavy on assists. Russell Westbrook looked like a fantastic candidate for that Sixth Man of the Year award. Thomas Bryant looks like a fantastic candidate for that Most Improved. It's all kinds of good stuff happening in LA. The only problem, and I mean the only problem we had, is we had to go to Sacramento the same night and get ready for a game the following day. We didn't even get a good 24 hours to just appreciate how well we've been playing. Nope. Got to keep it up, and we got to go to Sacramento and make sure that laser isn't beaming into the sky. As we know, Sacramento, a team we've seen twice, has beat us twice this year. First game, we saw them at home. We didn't have Bron. They got us. Swiper did what he did, scoring a bunch of points. Domantas Sabonis, high efficiency. Wasn't nice. Second matchup in their house, they were able to light the beam. We showed up, didn't quite get over the hump, etc. This is our third matchup against this team, and we need a win against them. We need a win against them because they are a team that is in our division, a team that is very much in the playoff hunt with us, and a team that we very much have ties to as one of our newer rivals over the last 25 years. So, as we always say, we hate the Sacramento beams very much here, and we want to make sure that their beams are not in the sky tonight. So, how do we keep that from happening? Well, we got to deal with the fact they're pretty dang healthy. And what does that mean? That means Mike Brown is prone to play some of anybody. Mike Brown's rotations vary as much as anybody when it comes to that bench. You look on the box score, and you're going to see different people. When I say different people, I mean his rotations do not stay the same. It's entirely different humans. I don't know how they have like 25 players that they're able to swipe in and out of their lineup like this, but they do. Last time we saw them, they had a player by the name of Neemias Queta go 5 for 5 off the bench. Nice center that they have sometimes running around. He ain't even in rotation right now. A guy that often kills the Lakers, I think his name is Terrence Davis. We talk about him every time we play this team at length. He's somebody that usually just destroys us. He hasn't been in rotation for the last several games. So it's like, with Sacramento, you just don't really know who's going to beat you when it comes to that bench. As of late, they've been using Ozzy Okpala and Trey Lyles as their main two guys off the bench, with Davion Mitchell getting some minutes here and there, that kind of thing. But the majority of their bench unit rotations is just going to be all over the place. You have no idea, literally, who they're going to play. They could go to Dellavedova if they want to. They could opt into running Hughes. I always get his name wrong, but their center, who tends to go in and out of the lineup with injuries. He's somebody they could use. His name is not Hughes, it's Holmes. Holmes is his name. He's been coming back as of late, trying to work his way back into health. Someone who could definitely do a lot of things on the offensive glass. And when he's healthy, could be a real heavy power forward center combination. Wow, what else do they have? They have everything, man. That's the thing about this team. Players that just go on forever and ever and ever. But you got to consider their starters before anything else. Guys like Harrison Barnes and Keegan Murray, two players that, if you're talking about the Sacramento Kings, you have to deal with on the defensive side. Both same height, same length. Stretch the floor, put the ball on the floor, and all kinds of stuff. Now, Keegan Murray is having a bit of a disappointing season, if you ask me. He's a rookie, so it's nothing to worry about, but it's just you thought he would be a ready-made player to come out the gate and really be a problem for the Kings, and he's been a problem, more or less. He hasn't stepped out of the gate and been that fourth overall player that they thought he would be. But his skill set and his style is still something that they have extreme hopes for, and his upside is crazy still, and we know what he can do. He's just going to have to find his way as a pro. And in this Sacramento Kings rotation, which you would think would be a good, easy, seamless fit for his skill set, but for whatever reason, he just does not play well as you would expect, given who he is and what he can do. So hopefully that doesn't change tonight. Hopefully he continue to be a struggling rookie for them. He doesn't have a breakout night tonight. Now, a guy we got to pay attention to very closely is Kevin Huerter, and the reason why that is because he could shoot the ball like crazy and help in other areas and tangibles, play some defense. He's a much better player than people actually think he is, if you ask me. And he's been playing a lot better as of late. The Sacramento Kings have been using him more so because Malik Monk has been kind of hurt. He's day-to-day, so he may not go tonight. And as a result, you may see more of Kevin Huerter shooting the ball and doing the things that he does at a high clip. If you don't guard him from behind the perimeter, he'll be the reason you lost. I can tell you that right now. He can definitely be the reason you lost. So know that and know it early. He's had pockets of the season where he's been extremely effective, and this is one of those. So we need to be ready for him tonight. Especially since he's at home. Shooters shoot well at home. We know that. So moving on, we got to keep an eye on, obviously, Domantas Sabonis, their center. He's a guy who's kind of been fighting through injury. I think he has he's playing through a messed up digit of some sort. So that's not keeping him from scoring and rebounding and doing all the things that he does. A certified all-star, if you ask me, for this season. And somebody who's a triple-double threat. A fantastic playmaker, phenomenal rebounder, and interior presence, scoring the ball that just simply cannot be stopped when he gets in his bag. And so that's what you're dealing with. Domantas Sabonis is a player that you must understand. It's going to create a lot of problems. So if we don't have Thomas Bryant, LeBron James, Wenyen Gabriel crashing the glass and making life hard on him, he's going to pull one of those nights where we're going to have to deal with him. Over the last couple of days, we've had matchups against teams that have had some solid big men, but not too many of them. That is not Sacramento's problem. They got a bunch of centers. They can throw at you over and over and over again. Centers that come from the back of the benches, like I said, you're like, where the heck did he come from? How the heck he's still on this team? It's one of those type of situations. So if they want, they'll send all their other players to the G League and just have like 4 centers in the rotation coming off the bench to just throw at you. They do that kind of stuff, I'm telling you. So be ready for Sacramento's unknown bench rotation situation tonight. And bigs like, as I said, Hughes or Holmes, whatever it is, Holmes for sure. And Lynn is on this team, I believe, as well. He's not in rotation, but who knows? They may use him. Like I said, the guy that we had go up against us last year, Kada, who's a massive body, we always have trouble with. It's another dude that I just can't seem to think of him, but he often comes to mind. And if he does, he will be somebody you have to deal with too, another center on their team. The ability to shoot the ball, ability to create rebounding situations for himself, second chance opportunities for his team. So, when I look at the Sacramento Kings, I just look at them as a playoff squad. They've won 3 out of the last 5 games. They've had some pretty tough matchups as of late. Yes, the last game they played was against the Atlanta Hawks. And, of course, we just played the Atlanta Hawks. They lost to the Hawks. We beat the Hawks. I don't know if that means anything, but take it for what it's worth. They had a couple games against the Utah Jazz where they were able to win the game despite Lauri Markkanen hitting a shot with 0.4 left to go. It was just a hair into his fingertips for him being Derek Fisher again. But ultimately, that was a no-go. Sacramento was able to win that one. They had 2 games against the Nuggets. They split that. And the thing that I noticed about this team is that the more they score, the better their situation tends to be. If you play good defense against them, keep them under 100 points, chances are you were the team that won. But if they score over 120 points, chances are you're the team that lost. That's just kind of how it goes for the Sacramento team. The more they score, the better they'll do. So we need to play defense. Last night against the Hawks, for us, it was defense to offense. We got in transition. We understood that slowing the ball down was not what got us our points. We understood that when we did get away from getting in transition, when we did get away from playing with pace, we found ourselves in situations where we were giving our lead back. So I don't expect that's going to change. We need to continue to look for defensive to offensive opportunities. Using guys like JTA, Wenyen Gabriel. Obviously, we need to talk about Thomas Bryant, Max Christie. Those guys were doing so much for us on the other side of the ball, on the defensive side of the ball, to where it gave us a lot more offensive stuff. Put us in a position to really overall just flex against an Atlanta team that was kind of going through the motions, to be completely honest with you. Motions that I do not expect Sacramento to be going through tonight. This is the team, like I said, they have a lot of ways to attack you with different players and different looks. And Swiper, the way that De'Aaron Fox is playing right now, he's an all-star as well. He's putting up big numbers. His mid-range game is always lethal against us. And, of course, he's so fast that he's just very difficult for us to match up with. So it's one of those matchups where we really don't appreciate having to see Sacramento, because usually when Swiper's down there, he's acting a fool with us, man. It's just a high confidence thing. I don't think I've seen him not play well against the Lakers. Not none in my recent memory. He just always kills us. So hopefully we can get some good stuff out of our guards as a whole. You know, Dennis Schroeder. Obviously, we're going to be missing Lonnie. Going to be missing Troy, I believe. I think Troy's day-to-day, but I don't know about this one. And, of course, we're going to have Austin. It's going to be out for 2 weeks along with Lonnie. So it's going to be one of those things where we're going to be leaning on Patrick. We're going to be leaning on, Dennis. We're going to be leaning on our guys that we've used over the last couple of days to keep on playing well and keep on doing what they've been doing. Obviously, Dennis Schroeder's been gaining his legend as a Laker as of late, playing some fantastic ball over the last couple of games, particularly helping us win on both sides of the floor. He's really been doing it. And so we need to see more of that. We need to see ourselves in positions to use Dennis Schroeder to the best of our ability. Continue to empower him to be a big-time star-level player on our team, because he's able to finish plays and get scoring buckets and opportunities stretching the floor and things. And from a consistent clip, he's able to really be on fire for us as of late. That three-point shot has been absolutely on fire for DS. And most importantly, beyond the three-point shot, his defense has been really helping us. He's been turning good defensive plays into offensive opportunities as well. So if he can continue to play at the level he's playing, I think we got a good chance of getting big production from him. You know, we got to talk about Russell Westbrook as well. We've been getting some great guard play from Russ too, playing both sides of the floor, doing an excellent job getting guys involved, doing an excellent job slashing to the basket and connecting on his layups and things of that nature, putting us in a position to look smarter down there by passing up some of the shots that he normally would take. Takes shots that I would say are ego shots that don't really do nothing for the team, but more so just allow him to keep his strength about him in regards to his image, but not necessarily help our team to win. So when we look at those shots, we just want him to understand the difference between the ones that we want him to take and the ones that we don't. And I think he's getting better and better at that. So I've been very pleased with Russell Westbrook. I think he's a leading candidate for Sixth Man of the Year as of right now. And I just want to continue to see us empower him to do exactly what he's been doing because it's working. So, that's important. We're going to need that tonight against Swiper. I think one of the most important things that we've been able to do for ourselves is understand that with Russell Westbrook attacking as fast as he does, if you notice the defense night in and night out, how many players are actually fast enough to keep up with him when he's slashing to the bucket, laying the ball up? Every night he's killing everybody. And we need to understand that. We saw him against Trae Young yesterday in certain sequences. You could see he's just clearly more athletic and stronger than Trae Young. It doesn't matter if Trae Young is in his prime or none of that. If he has to go up against a guy like Russell Westbrook, Westbrook's genetics are going to overpower a guy like Trae Young. And that is where the value of Russell Westbrook is in this league. When people are looking around saying, what can Russell do when they're considering his struggles from last year? What he can do is still run circles around everybody because he's 10 times more athletic than literally all humans, not named Giannis and LeBron. So you got to understand that is what he can bring to the table as he continues to go into the twilight of his career. Is the stuff that older men are not supposed to be able to flex with, like athleticism, strength, speed. That is exactly what Russell Westbrook's going to continue to do going forward until he decides to hang it up. As far as I can tell, he's a naturally athletic human being who's taken care of his body his entire life. He's been a weight room warrior since college. So when you're considering what it is that he can do, when you consider LeBron James, that's what they're going to do going forward. They're going to be able to beat people who are not in good a shape as them. They're going to be able to beat young kids who ain't got their fully grown man bodies together yet. They're going to take their super athleticism and their hypergenetics, and they're going to run past you. And we're seeing that every night, and it needs to be articulated in such a way that helps people understand what they're looking at. Russell Westbrook is faster than the people in front of him, and because of it, we're able to get buckets repeatedly, just like with Bron. The only problem with Westbrook is he needs to up his efficiency even more. We need his free throws to be hitting. We need his three-point shots to continue to fall, which was falling last night pretty good. And we need him to cut his turnovers down, which he's been working on. And I think he's been making some good strides in that area. So I'm an excited Laker fan when it comes to Russell Westbrook being on this team right now. I like the flow that he's in. I like the sacrifices that he's committed to help this team and help himself. I like how the team looks when he comes off the bench and ultimately helps us on the defensive end against some of these players that he has genetically and strength-wise beaten. And ultimately, I just like the fact that we're starting to find good sequences with him and LeBron James. Keeping him in rotation with other players that he normally plays well is important. But we know we are really going to crack something open if we can find a way to get him and LeBron James to be able to play on the floor for a good portion of the minutes and not have to think too much about who gets the ball, who doesn't, playing off one another, and etc. should be something that we get more and more good at as we continue to see these two players play with one another. So I like what Darvin's doing with those two, making them play with one another, seeing them play off one another, that two-man game. Russell Westbrook finds Bron as good as anybody, and Bron's one of those people who's always ready to catch the ball. But Russell tends to throw passes that average players just aren't going to be ready for. Guy like Bron, guy like AD, they're meant for that type of style. And I think as long as we attack with Russell Westbrook's pace, we leave the defense backpedaling. So I think that's what I want to say. If I knew LeBron James, I would tell him, like, you know, we have a strong thing going when we let Russell run the offense with you on the floor, because you're going to be the guy that can take advantage of that speed style that he plays with, that other guys are going to fumble the ball. You're the guy who can play off the ball in such a way to where whatever little herky-jerky stuff he does, it could turn into a phenomenal play because of your basketball IQ. So even though we want to get away from Bron and Russell Westbrook being on the floor because of their shooting deficiencies, what we're finding out is that Russell's getting smarter at passing up some of those threes, so we ain't got to worry about him having as much of a deficiency. Bron is getting smarter about passing up some of those threes, so we don't have to worry about those errant threes going up and ruining our plays. When they're on the floor together, they're both mindful of that, and it's helping us tremendously. And I think it's trickling down to other players. So I'm seeing guys passing up bad three-point shots for good looks, and as a result, we're finding plays that end up getting Thomas Bryant and ones, Dennis Schroeder and ones, and things of that nature. We just understand that we can always get easy buckets from Bron and Westbrook laying the ball up. But it's not the only way we can attack the defense. It's not the only way we can create space for ourselves and be effective. So we got to continue to keep other guys in rotation, getting the ball, 7 players with double figures type of stuff. That team ball, way of play that we've been showing for the last 2 days is the way we're going to beat any and everybody. It's going to be the way we win as much as we're going to win, because, passing ultimately keeps the defense honest. They don't know who's going to attack them. They don't know who's going to beat them at any given moment, and that's what we want. We don't want to be rendered to 2 players kicking tail and everybody else doing nothing. If you notice, in the Miami game, that was all they had going on. It was Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler, and a bunch of guys who weren't doing nothing. So we could zero in on those dudes and run them out of here. And that's exactly what happened. So as long as we're doing what we did, which is keeping 5 and 6 players in double figures, making sure that everybody gets their looks, make sure that everybody takes their time and makes the right decisions with the time they have on the floor, while playing with a pace that helps us get in transition from defense to offense. That half-court stuff doesn't work for us unless we have enough bigs on the floor to get us those easy buckets. And so as we continue to speak about bigs, we just want to continue to see that be the case. Play our bigs. JTA, Wenyen Gabriel, Thomas Bryant must be on the floor. If we're going to call a Boogie, please get him in here. We need to understand how our winning is a direct correlation to us playing bigger. When we have 4 and 5 guard lineups, we didn't have this type of success. We didn't have any rebounding going on. We didn't have any rim protection going on. And we were launching up shots with not so good shooters. Now that we're going to centers, now that we're playing with size, now respecting the defensive end more so in terms of second chance points and stuff like that, be it a race for the other team, we know that we are able to be a more effective basketball team. So that's what it's about, man. Just keep going with what's working. These bigs, it's working. And Dennis Schroeder stepping into his own. Patrick Beverley's continuing to be aggressive, trugging along. And I just think it's going to be a good thing if we continue to go to Max Christie and continue to go to those guys instead of leaning on Patrick so much. He's a fantastic defender and can help us here and there. But we got to just kind of lean on what works. And Max, Schroeder, that's where our money's at right now, if you ask me. So Max Christie hit a couple big threes last night, did some good things, had a dunk on the wing with the pass from Bron. I just really like what I saw from the young fella. He had some struggle games as of late and some DMPs, but last night he really stepped up and earned his minutes. So hopefully our coach will play him in regards to rewarding him for that good play. Because honestly, we just don't see enough of that with this roster. Because he's been leaning on these other guys, Dennis and Troy, not Troy, but Patrick and stuff like that. We just haven't seen guys get rewarded for good play on the basketball floor. So I want that to start, And I definitely want to see more of the guys who've been kicking tail, including young Max. So yeah, that's what it is, man. TB, can't stress it enough. His rebounding is helping us. Everybody on that guard position needs to rebound tonight. With Demonis on the floor, Keegan on the floor, Barnes on the floor, all these guys, Herder, all their bigs, whoever they're going to play from their bench, you must understand that the rebound is going to be one of the most important things for our team, and not turning the ball over. As we talk about the Sacramento Kings, we must reiterate the same thing we talk about in regards to the Sacramento Kings. Every single time we see them, passing lanes, they get steals, they play D, they look to get in transition. Do not play around with them as it pertains to errant passes. Do not just think you can do a little funny little inbound and it won't cost you. They got guys like Davion Mitchell on this team. And y'all know, even though Davion's not in regular rotation, y'all know I think he's one of the best defenders in the world. Y'all know I don't think there's probably 20 people in the NBA that can defend better than him at all. So you got to understand that. Just because he's not necessarily in rotation does not mean that he shouldn't be. If he played for certain teams, he would be the starting guard and probably be one of the best defensive players you know of. But since he's in Sacramento rotation behind a bunch of guards, he's just a guy. But understand, if they play him a lot of minutes, he can eat you up, both sides of the floor, and he will. And someday, he's going to be a regular guard in rotation, kicking buck, probably making all-star teams, but he's far away from that right now. And that's just the situation he's in. But let some of them guards go down. Let him start getting some real minutes. You're going to see Davion Mitchell turn into one of the best defensive players in the world. So, as far as I can tell, we don't have to see him play well to know that he's capable of that. If he's on the floor, expect him to be like Patrick Beverley. Expect him to be like Drew Holiday. Expect him to be like Alvarado, Gary Payton, all the great defensive guards that I can think of, John Stockton, all the great defensive guards, Jason Kidd. If you don't treat him as if he can do those things on the defensive end, you're playing yourself. That's all I got to say. And this is not somebody I expect to see a whole lot tonight. He's not even really in rotation. He might get 15 minutes, 12 minutes tonight, something like that. But I'm telling you, this is one of them situations. He's not being used properly, and it's not his fault. It's nobody's fault. It is what it is. But I fear him defensively, legitimately. And you should too. So that's one of them situations right there, man. I just know better. Certain players on this team, like Kevin Herter, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for 30 tonight. 6 threes, wouldn't shock me. They have some high-level players. Malik Monk, luckily enough, he's day-to-day. Hopefully we won't have to see our guy. We miss Malik over here, man. He's definitely a fantastic player who could hit a bunch of threes all day long. I'm not teaching anybody nothing about Malik. Just hopefully he'll do us a favor and just not play tonight. And with that being said, he has struggled some. He's not the same Malik we had last year, which is a shame, man, because we definitely miss him in our rotation. And I think he'd probably be shooting a lot better for us, just like he did last year. And unlike his tenure last year, we actually have a center on the floor. Because, he had a horrible experience having to run around for small ball season with the Lakers, where he saw Dwight Howard probably maybe twice or 3 times. He might have played with Dwight maybe once or twice in practice. But that's what it was, man. We got rim protection now. It's a much better day now. And I'm a happy Laker fan. Hopefully LeBron James will come back out and continue to give us some of that energy. He's been killing it so far. Since his birthday, he's just been probably the best player in the world. And man, I can't even argue with him. He's just getting easy buckets, winning basketball games, putting his team in position to get what they need from him. And, it's just been a real pleasure to watch him play basketball as of late. And, last night he was able to really put on a show for Shannon Sharp and Jeannie Buss and just put on some really, really good highlights. If you look at his highlights for this week, this boy's been putting up some of the best highlights of his career this week. The reverse jam he had 2 games ago, the couple plays that he had in the Atlanta game when his family was there. The way he's been balling just as of late, it's just really, really been special stuff. The 47 and all this good stuff. 10 assists yesterday with 9 in the first half. This is somebody, LeBron James, who's starting to really trust his teammates more, is what I'm gathering. He enjoys playing with TB. He enjoys playing with Austin Reeves. You know what I'm saying? You could see guys that he's really enjoying actually being down there with. And so that's what I want to see us continue to study that. And whoever keeps him motivated to be on it his best and pass up shots that he shouldn't take, people he trusts to get the ball to, and keep him on the floor with those people. And I am a firm believer that we should continue to experiment with him and Russell Westbrook together, because I do believe when it comes to playoff time, if we can afford to play them enough together, we have our best chance of beating teams. Because at the end of the day, Russell runs the offense in a way, like I said at the beginning of the video, that gets LeBron James the ball quicker than anybody else in the league. So you got LeBron James, who could probably score at the basket better than any human ever, and Russell Westbrook, who's looking to dish in the ball twice as fast as the normal, pattern of or style of play in this league. So I'm just excited about what I see Russell doing, running past people, laying the ball up real quick, getting behind defenders and stuff as they're backpedaling. You just cannot stop his penetration for nothing. And the more I study his game this season with the centers on the floor, because it's a different dynamic when we have TB down there, the more I'm able to appreciate what Russell Westbrook can be for our team as we continue to use him in this role. So, yeah, as far as us trading Russell, I'm losing my faith that is the best move for our team based on what it is that he does and how he keeps this glue together. I'm telling you, you remove him from this team, and we're not as quick a striking team. We're walking the ball up more. We're not getting in transition as much. Easy buckets don't come as easy. And LeBron James is likely more likely to get hurt trying to make up for it. That's what I'm telling you. We're going to need that speed to keep winning. And Russell brings it to the table. So I've been listening to a lot of Russell hate. I think people are assessing him with the old stuff and ain't been studying the last 2 weeks like, as we should. These last 2 weeks have really been a positive thing for Russell. I've only had maybe 1 or 2 games that we didn't love. He had that one game where he left out of the game at halftime. We still don't know what that was about. And it seems like he shook that off just as quick as it came, so ain't nothing to talk about. As far as I could tell, Russell Westbrook's the 6th man of the year. I'm going to be just as loud about how positive I feel about him, just as loud as I was about how negative I felt about him. When I wanted that man off the team, I was screaming at the top of the mountaintops. I was telling y'all I didn't want to see him no more, da-da-da-da-da. Now that he's balling, I'm telling you, put some respect on his name because it's due. He's a 6th man of the year if he keeps this up. He's unselfish in the sense that he could have got his triple-double last night. Didn't argue about it. He was 1 assist away from it. He was happy to be called out. The game was over. We won. And all that talk about stat padding and jumping for stats, he didn't want that triple-double last night, it seemed to me, not as much as he wanted to prepare for Sacramento tonight. And these are the type of things that I just want to see, man. I want to see Russell Westbrook get his chance to have a good playoff run with the Los Angeles Lakers this season if we don't trade him. And if we do trade him, I want to see him in a situation where he can start again. So whatever, either way, I'm rooting for Russ. I'm happy for him, whatever we do. But for us and who we are right now in our unit, removing him would be a big mistake because I don't think you can replace him. You can go get other stuff, but you ain't going to have that penetration. You ain't going to have that ability to genetically and physically overpower superstar point guards at half his age. You're not going to do that. You're not going to find that nowhere else. He's still that dude when it comes to athleticism, strength, and durability. And that's another thing. When you talk about guys that you can count on, there's a million dudes that I think are as good as Russell Westbrook or better. I'd be danged if I can count on them. I'd be danged if I actually think they're going to play 80 games a season. Russell will. I'm expecting Russell to play tonight. You understand what I'm saying? And so you got guys better than him that you can't count on like that. So I'm ready to give Russell Westbrook more flowers, just like I was ready to kick him off the team, man. Just as loud. We got to be loud with both the energies. And right now, he balling, and he needs his flowers. Our Hall of Famer needs his flowers, straight up. So that's where I'm at with that. And I expect him to come out there and kill the Kings tonight. I expect him to play well. Don't revert back to nothing negative, because at the end of the day, you've overcome a lot of that. You know what I mean? A lot of that negative stuff or the peanut gallery. Most players that I know of who were having the issues he was having with that, being made fun of, they don't bounce back. When do you see them bounce back? When do you see the perseverance that Russell shown when you got people making fun of him the way that they was making fun of him, the way that Skip and Shea was making fun of him every day? The way the whole team, even fans, was booing him when he shoot the ball, man, that mess with anybody's confidence. And look where my man's at now. Look where he's at now. So I'm saying, I don't have nothing but respect for Russell Westbrook, because I seen how difficult what he was going through was and how well he's playing in that same uniform. He ain't run, he ain't duck, he ain't, you know what I'm saying? It was about as awkward as it gets. I can tell you there's been times in my life where I don't know if I could have did what Russell did. You know what I'm saying? So if I ain't inspired by that as a Laker fan, then I'm just playing myself. That's what I got to say, man. So I think that's a good way to end the video, man. I'm excited about beating the Kings tonight. I'm excited about our guys going out there and playing. I know we might be a little short-handed. I didn't mention that Damian Jones is day-to-day. God knows how he got day-to-day when he ain't even playing, but it's how it goes with us in these injuries. Shout out to Sterling Brown, Cole Swider, and Scottie Pippen, who got called up. I'm really excited about seeing what they can do. I want them to get minutes. Really excited about Cole Swider because he's one of those guys people forgot about. And he was one of the main rookies from this season that we were excited about our scouts picking up and kind of giving us some of that Kyle Kuzma surprise flavor. So what is it? It's January, right? He still got half a season. Cole Swider could still be a rotation player by the end of the year. And I'm excited about his ability to shoot the ball in people's faces because that's one of his gifts. One of the best players that I've seen in this little rookie class of role players and everything that can shoot the ball with a hand in his face and probably hit it more than he will if he's open. It's one of his gifts, and I'm super excited about what that's going to look like. Most people we don't want shooting contested shots, but Cole Swider, he hits them, and he hits them a lot. So that little slump he was in at the beginning of the season was a head scratcher. I think the injury that he took on was, it was unfortunate, but it did pull him away to allow him to reset his entire conditioning process. And as a result, I expect him to come back a different player, a better shooter, and ultimately somebody who has the same upside he had in the preseason. And don't forget, he blocks shots from behind, a la Bron. He does the chase down regularly. So I can't wait to see Cole Swider get in rotation, get himself together, and ultimately become a part of what it is that we do, because I know, and I've told you, that's our best shooter. That is our best shooter. So that's what it is, man. I ain't forgot about Cole. I ain't forgot about none of our players, bro. Scottie Pippen, can't wait to see him in rotation. It's one of those things where he would have already been in rotation if it were up to me. He got to shake off a lot of cobwebs, but he's also somebody who's going to create a lot of open shots for three-point shooters, particularly, and somebody who's going to get into the paint and score a lot. I love Scottie's game. He reminds me of Josh Hart. He reminds me of guys that slash to the bucket a lot, who could do things on both sides of the floor. And if you give him 30 minutes a game, he's going to probably average a lot of points, good assists, and a lot of steals and some rebounds. I'm telling you, he's a heavy level player. He's going to turn the ball over. He's going to break a lot of shots because he's a rookie. But if you get him to knock off some of them cobwebs early, he'll be a rotation player for you by the end of the season. This is not one of them situations where you got to wait a whole year for that particular kid. It's a mistake doing that with these youngsters who are just overall evolving from the old ways of doing things with old players. You don't have to wait 2 and 3 years for guys to play well. A guy like Scottie Pippen just needs a couple weeks to be in rotation, and he will shake off the cobwebs and play well for you. I hate that I have these things in my head knowing what they can do for our team, and we will never see these things because of the overall mentality of how teams run basketball. We are leaving production on the floor. We did it with Wenyen Gabriel to start the season. We're doing it with several other players as well. And I just want that to stop. We don't have a whole lot of talent. So play the young guys and run them like they're regular pros and see what they can do for you. And if they prove they can't do it, then revert back to the, okay, let's wait on them crap. Until then, they're just bodies we need to run out there. So that's what I want to see us do. Run the young players. Give them some looks tonight in Sacramento. If it makes sense to do so, obviously, depending on the score. But we have to understand that we're going up against a very good team at home who has a theme about winning basketball games at home. That beam needs to be lit at the end of the night for their fans to feel good about themselves. We need to make sure it's a dark night in Sacramento. Last time I said that, it was a bright sky, and I was not happy. So let's try to see if we can bring it to this team, Sacramento, and, treat them like we always treat them. They don't win against us, not really. I mean, we may get a regular season game here and there, but when we see them in the playoffs, they go home. So we need to make sure that they understand that this is just like a playoff matchup. We respect them like a playoff team again for the first time since then. And we should be able to come in there with the intensity of not letting this game slip through the cracks. I don't care if they're better than us or not. They've beat us twice already. We're playing better than both of them times, so we owe them. And I want to beat them on their home floor bad, man. I really do. The Sacramento team, they've had our number. Mike Brown and those guys, they've coached well. Swiper, they know who we are. Sabonis, they've had a good time against us. Even Sabonis' dad used to have a good time against us for Portland. So I still have a gripe with Sabonis just off the strength of what his pops used to do. So we need to, on a serious tip, we definitely need to bring it against this basketball club, because at the end of the day, they got champions. A guy like Harrison Barnes won a championship ring. He knows what he's doing. The big bodies that they're going to throw at Bron, try to slow him down. The wings that they have, they can shoot the ball, etc. This is a very good team, man. Youthful, all the stuff that you would want to see from a basketball squad. Sacramento has put it on the floor this year. So I don't expect this to be an easy game for us. We've beat some teams that we weren't supposed to beat. I don't think this is the best of them. I don't think this team better than Miami. But at the same time, I think they're playing better than Miami right now. So it's going to take a little more to beat them than it took to beat the Hawks and the Kings. And the Heat. So this is the first Western Conference team we've seen since Christmas Day, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think we've seen anybody from the West. Am I tripping? Have we seen any Western Conference teams at all since Dallas? I don't think so. So, this is one of those situations where it's felt like we've been on the East. The Eastern Conference, we know, can kind of be a lull type of conference where they don't play basketball as hard as the West most of the time. Respectfully, they just don't. And I think we need to remind ourselves of that when we go out against the Sacramento King team. They're a Western team. They're in our division. They're highly motivated. They know us, and they don't like us. So we need to have a keen level of understanding about how to attack them defensively. And, again, third quarter. Please take care of that third quarter. Make sure that you don't come out flat. We need to think about that every single day when we come out of the locker room. We've already learned a lesson enough this year. Coming out of the locker room flat. We haven't done it as of late. We need to keep that on the forefront of our minds. Come out of that locker room attacking with good rotations. Turnovers must come down. We haven't turned the ball over in a way that we respect as of late. Got to bring those turnovers down. Rebound the ball. We've been doing better there. Keep that up. And three-point discipline. We've been kind of average with the three-point discipline. Hitting shots a little more than usual. Keeping ourselves steady under 33 threes, under 32 threes, something like that. Most nights, that's where we like to keep it. Let's just keep on letting it fly properly and passing up the ones we have no business taking. So, yeah, man, that's what I got. I encourage everybody to go check out some of them old Laker videos because I've made so many points about this team that I think would be relevant for tonight, these Lakers. But at the end of the day, as we continue to follow them, we just continue to be happy. This is a team worth rooting for. They're not the most talented team, but from a night-to-night basis, I've enjoyed just the ebbs and flows of them learning and making mistakes and becoming better and coming together and just overcoming these tendencies that we're prone to make. Guys tend to hang their heads when things go wrong, tend to slow up the pace when they have a big lead, play not to lose, that kind of thing. We're learning that it doesn't work for us. We're learning that if we put our pedal to the metal and continue to put that pace on teams, that we can blow them out. Then we can not only beat them, but we can make them feel silly. Look what we did to Boston before we started pulling up and slowing down the pace. We had them boys backpedaling. That's one of the best teams, if not the best team in the league. They was scared. They ain't know what they was dealing with out here. So this is the type of stuff I'm like, look, we had Philly on the ropes, another playoff team. We beat Milwaukee already. We beat the Nuggets without AD. Like, this is a team that can play, man. We can play. We beat Miami without Bron. Stop telling me my unit can't play when I'm seeing this. Just run them right. All year long they could have been doing this if we just ran them in the right rotations. I promise you, y'all. That's all it ever was. My name is BDF44. I encourage everybody to enjoy the Sacramento King game tonight at Sacramento at 7:30. And I'm out.